We got it going on. We got it going on. All right. It's so funny. I was totally double checking my not my calendar. Well, I guess it would be my calendar to see if I was supposed to sign on right now, and I did because I have this scheduled. Love it. So I know it's early in the morning. I know it's 7 a.m., but I'm here to help you kind of ease into the day. Get yourself up at a time that feels right to you. Maybe you're scrolling in bed on TikTok. Maybe you're already up and I'm in the kitchen with you, or you've got your phone propped up in the bathroom as you're like brushing your teeth. Maybe you're walking around with your TikTok on a big screen and you're opening up the blinds because hopefully it's going to be a little bit brighter out. That's what I'm going to do. So give me a sec, actually. There we go. It's so funny. I had hoped, nice to see you, Cat Mama. I had hoped when I went to go open up my blinds that the sun would come streaming through. No, it's December. It's a bunch of gray. Now, technically, I think the sun has just about to come up, but this is what we're dealing with. So, good morning, everybody. I know this is an early time, but this is usually when I actually show up. This is one of the TikTok lives I will share with you that I tend to show up at 7 a.m. on my Tuesdays, just the way my coaching schedule goes. Now, this is early for me. I'm on the East Coast. Hey, good morning. Erin, hey, nice to see you. Getting ready. Look at me. This is how I get my water in, is I just put a tea bag in it. Much easier to drink that. Abbott Elementary, nice to see you. So East Coasties know that it's 7 a.m. And so this is one of those times when I am an East Coast early bird. And so I show up right here too. There we go, Laura Jane. Hello from Massachusetts. I am a Massachusetts person myself. However, I now live in Pennsylvania. But yay, go Mass. I'd say go Sox, but my dad was a Boston Braves fan. He was that old. So yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. The cool thing about the morning is, good morning, Judy. Nice to see you. I'm just seeing some names I recognize. And Cat Mama, I'm glad you like the early ones because I am an early bird, but I also like to show up at a kind of a decent hour for the people that are in Central Mountain and Pacific. There we go. Abbott Elementary. Nightstand cleaned up before your trip. Awesome. Awesome. Cheryl from Boston, nice to see you. Cheryl, I don't know if you know Laura Jane. You're both from Mass, so maybe you guys are next door neighbors. Maybe you're not even in the same area code. But we're all connected here because we're all on TikTok at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm on this side of TikTok. Usually I'm with you and I'm kind of scrolling and laughing at things and getting ideas for trips and recipes that I'll bookmark and I'll never make. But I show up really to help you kind of get started moving towards what you want to do. And the way I do this is helping you kind of sort out your clutter. Figure out why you have the clutter, what you want to do with your clutter, what clutter even is, and help you where you're stuck. Oh, there we go. Laura Jane's in Northampton. I love it. I love it out there in Western Mass. Very cool. Very cool. So my name is Beth, in case we haven't met. I know there's just a handful of people here, but I always like to kind of just let the new folks know. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. It will readily become apparent as to why I call it that, because I'm often talking about road trips and, I don't have my, no big deal. I was going to say, my head's always in the way of this. See this road trip thing I got right over here? We're here, but technically we're in the little car, and we're going towards our destination. Destination, decluttered. Now, the only reason we're driving towards decluttered is because you want to be decluttered. If you don't, no big deal. Everybody owns stuff. Everybody owns stuff. Everybody feels good with a certain amount of stuff around them or not. And as they say in those commercials, your mileage may vary. So my idea of the right amount of stuff for me is it could be different from the right amount for you. what I love to help people with, and this is why I very quickly in my coaching career, which has only been in the last five or so years, I quickly realized being a decluttering life coach is really where it is, because sometimes you don't know why you are cluttered. And in order to figure out what's kind of going on there, as I like to say in that car metaphor, you need to kind of pop the hood. You're sitting there in your car and you're like, well, I want to be there. I want to be decluttered. But for some reason, I am not able to move forward towards it. And what I love to do is kind of hang out there. And I am not a mechanic. I'll get you a satanic mechanic. Anybody? Frankenfurter? This is how I coach too. I will pop out. I will pop into song at the moment's notice. Okay. Yes, I love it. The organized soprano says, "Amen." It's very individual. Yes, but I enjoy helping you figure out, not only just figure out why you're cluttered. That's half of it. But then also saying, okay, we learned this insight. Now let's put it into practice. Let's try out this theory that we have of why you are cluttered, and let's see how, if we learn about this, how can we help with that info, help you start to declutter. Because the way I approach it is this. So a couple of things I often say at the beginning of any of these TikTok lives, because I do TikTok lives pretty much every day. They are scheduled, and the people who are on my mailing list know what the schedule is. So if you're interested in the schedule, I can tell you how to get on the email list. DestinationDecluttered.com is my website. Sign up for the mailing list there. Wicked easy. Wicked easy. You can tell I'm from Mass. But putting these things into practice. So when you say, well, what's clutter? People say, well, what's clutter? My definition of clutter, my definition is this. My definition of clutter is stuff that you don't want, but you're afraid to let go of. Pretty simple. Clutter is not the stuff you want and you want to keep. Oh my God, I love that. I want to keep it. That's not clutter. Okay. Oh, there we go. Somerville, nice to see you. Actually, you'll get a kick out of this. I'm going to digress for a second because I always like to talk geography. I used to live in Medford. You can tell I don't live there anymore because I put Medford. I used to live in Meffa, and it was like Medford, the gateway to Somerville, because I used to work in Cambridge. I actually used to manage the Pier 1 imports in Porter Square. So I've been doing this kind of organizing of home stuff for decades. But I also know that there are reasons why other people can't easily do it, and I don't judge you. We just get curious. Linda Mosgier, nice to see you. Clutter. Clutter is the stuff that you don't want, but you're afraid to get rid of. Laura Jane used to say something can't be wicked good. He never went to Newbury Comics, huh? Clutter, the stuff in your home that you struggle with. Do I want it? Do I not? Notice there's a struggle. There's a tension. Should I stay or should I go now? Talk about Newbury Comics. I'm quoting The Clash. Oh my God. The tension between I don't want it, I don't know what to do with it, that kind of limbo. Clutter is not the stuff you love. You may have stuff you love that you are merchandising in a cluttered fashion. Organizing and merchandising is a different thing from deciding, and here's a riff, is deciding what products you want to carry in your personal store. What do you want to keep? What do you enjoy? What do you want to share with people? Look at this cool thing I just bought, Clutter is the stuff that you don't want, but you're afraid to let go of. I like that premise. And also, decluttering is not just knocking down the number of items in your home, but also finding a home for what you do keep and getting into the habit of putting things back where they belong, So yeah, yes, Porter Square, Pier 1. Yep, spent a lot of time there. There we go. Okay, advice. Paperwork, no time to organize. You got to make time to organize. And it doesn't take as long as you think it will. Food shop, clean laundry, self-care, work, full-time, kids, then tired. Okay. Here's what I want to offer is scheduling. Hey, I love it. Erin found a $100 Pier 1 gift card from years ago. I hope it still works for online purchases. Give it a shot. But notice what decluttering can do. It can help you unearth things that are valuable. $100, Pier 1. That's a wicked lot of papas on chairs, people. But to get back to paperwork with no time to organize, you have to make time for the things that you want to happen. They do not just happen overnight. And I say this not with judgment and scolding. I say it with love and helpfulness. You know, I say that you are spending time on things that are important. And this is where I want to tell you or encourage you. This is my schedule. This is my schedule for the day. I have a bunch of stuff to do today. I have easily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have about 8 hours of stuff scheduled that I can't do anything else during the day except what's scheduled for those 8 hours. However, I also have time in between those things. And that's where you have to get curious, and I can help you with this. Where are you spending your time? Notice, time is spent. Once you spend it, it's gone. Where are you spending your energy? Now, energy, like your gas tank in your car, you know? And I love this. Erin says, and Erin knows what she's talking about, schedule 10 minutes a day for papers. That's self-care too. Yeah. Taking care of your paperwork is going to make you feel better when you just get it done. Doesn't it feel better? It can feel scary to open up an envelope because you don't know what's in it. And then you're like, oh, it's no big deal. There's a check here. They're sending me a refund as opposed to a bill. But if you're afraid to deal with it because maybe you don't have good systems or you have some stories about what paperwork means, making some time to resolve the things that are bugging you means that you will no longer have them that bugs you, okay? So even just today, so what I do, this is my process right here. I get a 50-cent notebook, 35 cents if it's on sale type of thing, at Staples. Every day, it's one of these very casual kind of demure spiral bound things so I can tear the page out when it's done. This is today's schedule. Today's schedule is, I put the date at the top, and then 6 a.m., 7 a.m., all the way down to 9 p.m. I just skip a line. And then I just get curious about what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. I suggest this to everybody because it's just an interesting thing to see where you are spending your time and where you might have gaps of time in between those things that are scheduled that you can do some decluttering. But also, if you don't have a gap in your schedule, why the hell not? Where are you spending your time? And this is something, I literally got an award at work for this, is how to become more efficient. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like doing more. I mean doing less. How can you do less of the stuff you don't want to have time to do the things you do want to do? Okay. Oh, interesting. Purple Butterfly. I love Pier 1. They used to have a clearance store in Dedham. Was the clearance store... It's so funny because I haven't lived in Mass since literally 2000. But I started my Pier 1 journey at the Pier 1 Imports in Dedham, at the Dedham Plaza. That's where I got my job there. And holy Moses, that was close to 40 years ago. Yeah. So there we go. Cat Mama has the shredder next to their favorite chair. Try to keep up but still have a pile. I offer this. Really, seriously, you guys? Seriously. If you can't keep up with your shredding, get curious about what you're shredding. Does it need to be shredded? If it needs to be shredded, do all of the pages need to be shredded, or does maybe it's just the front page? You know, get curious about this. This is my jam, don't judge yourself, but get curious about where things are not working for you clutter-wise. So Cat Mama, maybe you do have a backlog of paperwork. When I was helping my mom is still up in Massachusetts, and 3 years ago when she turned 80, she finally, after decades of me saying, Mom, if you ever want help with this, I'm really good at it, I can help you. No, decades. Finally, she turns 80, and she's like, I guess I need my help on them. Okay. So, get curious. Okay, so Cat Mom is saying anything with my name on it. not to freak you out, but have you ever Googled your name? You have so much information about you already on the internet that somebody, and I say this with love, that somebody probably already knows your name and is not digging through your trash to find out your name. Okay? If you don't want somebody to find out your name, maybe you just take, I got one right here, a little Marks-a-Lot, and you just go zoop, and then you throw it in the recycle bin. Okay? There is so much information you can find out about people on the internet that I'm not saying don't shred some things. I think, if somebody can, if it's got your whole social security number on it, then do that. But notice what you're doing. You're afraid of the fear of somebody finding out your name. I literally could probably take 2 minutes and even just Googling cat mama and find that out. So there we go. Yeah, I have been ripping addresses off of stuff and toss the rest, so saving shredding for private stuff. I don't shred a lot. And what I do is I will literally, I took a bunch of, my mother had paperwork in her house for decades. I knew a lot of that stuff. I didn't feel like going through it if there was important info in it. So what I did was I brought it down here to PA and in a bunch of Roach Brothers bags, because she lives in Needham, and Roach Brothers bags full of paperwork, and I found a place that shreds, and I just literally, I paid the money, and decades worth of paper shredded, and I don't have to worry about it. There we go. And Grace Gold says, I just signed up for an identity theft membership, and now I have peace of mind. Worth it. Okay. I will say this. Yes, paying the money to get some of that shredded. Prior years, I have gone, in my stuff that I've shredded, I let it accumulate for years, because the stuff that I want shredded for years still will only probably fit in one paper grocery bag. So I keep a paper grocery bag down the basement. When we switch over our paperwork at the beginning of the year, when we're getting our taxes together, I'll shove that stuff in a bag and I don't think about it. Then I look for opportunities where there's a free shredding event. Now, 2 years ago and 3 years ago, there were some of those in my area, so I went to the free shredding events. Other than that, you can go to Staples, UPS store, banks sometimes do it. You may have some of those. Other times, and I will say, shredding, some of those you need to pay for. But that initial, paying to get it done within 2 seconds, yeah, Linda says put the shredding in a fire pit. So maybe you've got a fire pit. That's how I am going to, I already have a plan for when I declutter my personal sentimental papers, is I'm going to have a ritualistic burning of them. I'm going to go and I'm going to relive the memories of looking at that thing. I'm going to share the memory if anybody wants, and then I'm going to just burn it. Yeah. Cat Mama, hit wrong button. Credit card stolen and $1,000 furniture charged on my card times 2. Yeah, being aware of those things. Do not get me wrong. I get that. My mom, again, this is one of the reasons I got involved with decluttering her, helping her declutter, is because she had inefficient systems that were caused her to get some extraneous stuff put on her credit cards. I was helping with her paper clutter, and she would get her credit card statement once a month. And when I was cleaning up with her clutter, I just looked at it. I wasn't being nosy, but I just glanced because I was trying to organize the papers. And it was like, Mom, did you go to Puerto Rico and not tell any of us? And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, it says right here on your Bank of America credit card that you bought 2 tickets to Puerto Rico. She's like, oh my God, I never did that. That helped us get going through her clutter, saved her thousands of dollars, and also helped me get her paying things online, getting identity protection, putting a freeze on her credit cards, So Grace Goal is asking, what kinds of papers are sentimental that you're talking about? Can you give some examples? Oh my God. Yes. So let me even back up with this. Okay. 3 layers of clutter. So I talk about clutter being the stuff you don't want, you're afraid to get rid of. 3 layers of clutter. 3 places are surface clutter, stored clutter, and sentimental. Okay. So surface clutter is the clutter of everyday life. The evidence that you're living in a house, the evidence you're living in a home, not a museum. Stored clutter is where you go to put away the stuff. So if you can't put the stuff away, it's because your storage may be too cluttered. But sentimental clutter are the items that you keep that tell you a story. So sentimental papers, it's that Christmas card that my dad wrote to me and now my dad is gone. It is the ticket stub to that Broadway show I went to. It is the booklet to the music festival I went to that I met my husband at when he was playing in a band. It is the business card of that cute little restaurant that we went to on vacation. I am a paper saver like nobody's business. I love souvenirs of good times. And I want to remember the good times, so I do save those things. However, it doesn't take over my life. That is completely separate from the bills that come in every day. It's completely separate from the stuff that I have to work with, you know? Gail is asking, how long should you keep your credit card statements? Honestly, think about this. I say only until the next statement comes in. I can even opine, and I will share with you, I still get my credit card statements in the mail. It's one of the few things that we get in the mail, and I do not mind getting those there because I like to look at that snapshot. Think about a statement is a snapshot in time of from here to here, here's what you spent your credit cards on. Then you say, yes, I agree that I spent that money, and you pay it. And then when you get the next statement in, it says, yes, you paid that, thank you. The wonderful thing is, and I was just about to say this, but SoCal Rando Stuff says you can access your credit card statements online, so you don't really need them. So you don't need to even get them, but if you want to. But I know, because I'm Gen X, that there are people here who have varying degrees of comfort on doing certain things online. So I do the both. I'm hybrid, okay? I pay my bills online, my credit card bills online. I also often check my mother's credit card transactions to make sure nothing's untoward. But I also like the cleanliness of the statement. And so I do the both, you know? There we go. Linda Moser here says, burned correspondence from divorce, just kept the document with the gold seal. Funny, I don't even know where I got to figure out. You know what? I have an envelope that has the important papers in it. I bet my divorce papers from my short and unhappy first marriage are in there somewhere. But yes, Erin is looking forward to doing that someday too. Yeah, isn't it a nice feeling? It totally is. You know? Organized Soprano goes, I know where mine is. Yeah. So notice we have papers that tell us stories. Papers tell us stories all the time. Here's the paper that shows how much I spent on my credit card. Here's the paper that shows me how much I need to pay for that Blue Cross Blue Shield thing. Here's the paper that says I'm divorced. Here's the paper that says I'm married. Here's the paper that says I was born. Every picture tells a story, don't it? You know, Erin says, I will also burn my own journal note someday. Yeah, you and me too. But for the time, I have a way of organizing my paper that I love. I took it, you know, who was I saw something recently. Allie Willis, total deep cut. And they were talking about Andy Warhol saying at the end of each year, he took whatever was on his desk and put it in a box. I do the same thing, not my desk, but see these? Here, let me see if I can show you. Over here, I've got some boxes down here. Every year I start one of these little flat boxes, and it has the year in it. And any sentimental paper that I decide I want to keep for a good memory, I pop into that box. At the end of the year, I put that box on a shelf down the basement. I easily have 20 of them, 30 of them. And each one of those things means it's archived by year. So maybe when I'm 80 years old, what I will start to do is I will go through those things and I will, as we would say in my family, walk down memory lane. These visual pieces of paper will hopefully trigger a memory of the time we had. If my brain is working properly when I'm 80, I hope that happens. Maybe looking at these things will jog those memories. So I like souvenirs. And so, but I keep them, and they can only fit in that one box. And that box can only be one size. And I will share this with you, is I have far fewer paper things than back in the day. Because think about it now. We used to save like ticket stubs from like going to concerts and stuff, Ticketron, Ticketmaster, all that. Nowadays, they've been slowly but surely replaced by somebody scanning a QR code on your phone. So we are living through the transition from a primarily paper-based society into a much more heavily digital society. So get curious right now, okay? This is my thing. Get curious about what papers, sure, you've saved papers from the past, but also today, take a curious look at the papers that are currently coming into your home and ask yourself, and again, ask yourself with curiosity, not judgment, do I really need this to come into the house? Or is there another way that I can do the thing? Do I really need a paper that comes into my house that says, here's your $49 Verizon bill, and the bill never changes because it's our what do you call it, Wi-Fi or whatever. It's our internet. It never changes. It's paid on electronically, so I can easily unsubscribe from that. I know that that's going on okay online, and I get the email notifications. So I share this with you to think about the fact that many of us grew up in a paper world, but now we live in a hybrid world. Many of us set ourselves up with habits back in the 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Habits of what we do when paper comes in. I just offer to you to take a quick look at what your current habits are with paper, and are they making your life easier or more difficult? So look at what papers, even today, everybody on this TikTok Live, today when you go to your mailbox, first of all, if you haven't been to your mailbox for a while, because I have a client, I do one-on-one coaching, I have a client who's like, oh, I wait weeks. Go to your mailbox today. No, I don't keep bank statements. A statement, again, is a statement is a fixed amount of time that certain things happened in it. By the time you get that statement, those things have already passed. I can look those up on the internet. By the time I look at by the time my statement comes in the mail, however much money that it says I had in my bank account at that point has changed. So I don't even get bank statements. Back in the day when we didn't have the internet, the only way you could know what your things were, unless you really were, you got your checkbook and then you put a minus $50 in cash, and then I put this check in there, then I wrote this check. You were keeping your statements. You were keeping all those transactions yourself until you got that statement at the end of the month or whenever they sent it to you. Nowadays, you guys use the internet for some of this stuff. But I also know that we all have, I can declutter a lot by getting rid of those. Yeah, just get curious to say to yourself, this is the cluttering, this is the really easy peasy kind of the decluttering waltz step. What is this thing? Do I need it? If I want it, where does it go? If I don't want it, where does it go? 1, 2, 3, 4. What is this thing? Do I want it? If I want it, where does it go? If I don't want it, where does it go? So just get curious about the stuff that's cluttering up your life right now, and even ask yourself, most banks will shred them for free. Find out if your bank does it. But get curious about what clutter you have coming into your house today. When your mail comes in today, okay? When your mail comes in today, look at your mail with new eyes, with curiosity. Notice what is coming in that, do you really need that to come in? Also, notice how much junk mail you get, and you can do something about that, okay? You can unsubscribe from junk mail. I did it for my mother because I am a good daughter and I am wicked good at this stuff. It was boring. I had to be tenacious. But now I also have her set up for, what is that thing? Informed delivery. So instead of getting 80 million things, envelopes stuffed with guilt and address labels, she's getting like 2 or 3 pieces of mail at the most. And even some of those I'm pissed off because I unsubscribed her and I need to get back to the people. Okay? All right. So a lot of this stuff, I will say a lot of these things generally, but do your due diligence and come fine. So somebody is saying, what about income tax info? What can we get rid of? Okay, wicked easy. But don't just take my word for it. I'm just some random person you're seeing on the internet. Do a couple of Googles and make sure what I say is right. Typically the IRS says keep it for 7 years. After 7 years, you allegedly cannot get, what do they call that? Audited. Okay? So think about why you're saving it. Even SM01690, how do you store possibly important papers you're not sure about? Notice the ambiguity. How do you store possibly important papers? First of all, find out if they're important or not. They're possibly important. How are they important? Get curious. I'm not sure about it. I might need it. I don't know. Find out. Find out. Here's a really easy way to think about this. And this took me decades. And as soon as it hit me, I was like, no, duh. It never occurred to me. Let me make your tax paperwork so freaking easy. You get a folder, let's say, and it's got a pocket on one side, a pocket on the other side. You need a pocket for evidence. Your paperwork is evidence of something. You have 2 things you need to prove with evidence. How much money you made and how much money you spent, with an asterisk, how much money you spent that you are deducting from your taxable income. Those are the only 2 piles you need for your paperwork for your taxes. Okay? They don't care how much you spent on your credit card unless it's a business expense. Unless you're saying, hey, I spent this money, but I'm taking it off the top. Okay? So yeah, Vicki, you can get started today. All right? You can get started today. Don't get overwhelmed by the stuff you've accumulated, though I will say this. You've got a 4-day weekend coming. Many of us have some bonus days coming up this weekend. Stop bringing stuff into your house and start getting stuff coming out of your house. Instead of doing the Black Friday sales and bringing things in, how about you say it's no buy Friday, and instead what I'm going to do is sit here and I'm going to start to declutter. You know? Okay, Organized Sopranos. It's so funny that you had to jump through hoops, and I love it, Amica, because that's my mother's insurance company too. And Progressive's List, yes, you need to be tenacious because you need to participate in creating the life you want. You know? Yeah. There we go. Yeah, unless they find fraud. Well, just don't fraudulate your credit, your taxes. Don't fraudulate your taxes. I just made up a word. Yes, Linda, my grandmother had addresses, labels for all of us. Yeah. There we go. Vicki, just get started today. And then you can do it tomorrow. And every day the mail comes in, you guys, you can stop it coming in. You can start a different habit immediately. And here, write this down. This will help you. To unsubscribe from any stuff you don't want. Magazines. Actually, it's funny. My husband bought some stuff online, and now I have this because I pulled it out of the news, the mail, because today I'm going to call up this place, okay? Here's what you do. You look, and okay, there's a website here. I'm going to look at this website, and I'm going to find the 800 number, the customer service number for this company. I will call up the 800 number, and then I have this phrase that works well, so write this down, okay? I'd like to be unsubscribed from your postal mailing list. Is this something you can help me with? I'll say it again because it works. I feel like I probably sound like a robot. Hey, I'd like to be unsubscribed from your postal mailing list. Not to be confused with your digital mailing list, because digital clutter, you can unsubscribe. They're required by law to have a footer that says unsubscribe. So you can unsubscribe from emails, wicked easy. But the paper that comes in, I'd like to be unsubscribed. I'd like to be unsubscribed from your postal mailing list. Is this something you can help me with? Now, this something you can help me with is a wonderful thing to tack on to anything when you're asking somebody's help. Because who wants to say, no, I can't help you with that? Okay? What they might say is, I can't help you with that, but let me forward you to somebody who can. And then you give them your list. I did this for my mother. I literally could show you the stack of the backs of catalogs that I tore down. I recycled this. This goes into my recycles. Boom. And then I wrote on it the date and unsubscribe, talk to somebody. So I would have a paper trail to make sure that I did that. Now, I'm going to be a bit of a tenacious whatever, is because what I noticed is, and you might notice this too at this time of year, you may be unsubscribed from their general mailing list. They may have another one that is the end of the year guilt trip, give us money type thing. My mom's getting a lot of those things. I am too. So what I'm doing immediately when those come in, I get in touch with them to get off of their mailing list. Okay? There we go. Yeah, Cat Mama, start today. It will take a number of weeks or maybe a month or two because things are already in the system. But I will tell you, I did this back in June, July for my mother. She's getting only 2 or 3 pieces of mail. And when you get fewer pieces of mail, it increases the likelihood that the important stuff does not get lost in the shuffle. You know? So get started today. You can get started small. So Cat Mama, whatever mail comes in today, practice this. And the wonderful thing about practice with any of this, not just this one tiny particular thing about how to decrease the amount of paperwork in your house, is practicing. Practicing something different. The first couple of times you do something is always going to be awkward. The more you do something, the easier it gets. And then you get on a roll and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be so good. I'm going to delight in telling these people, get me off your mailing list. Notice Vicki is suddenly excited to do this. So Vicki, just so you know, I do these TikTok lives pretty much every day. Next time after you've done it, tune into one of my TikTok lives. Let me know how it goes. It's not going to be as scary as you think it's going to be. Just because you haven't done it doesn't, and you're a little bit apprehensive. I don't know, I've never done that before. Do it. Participate in. You need to be the person who's creating the life you want. They're not going to do it for you. They're just going to keep on sending you the stuff. If you want it to stop, you need to do something. And oftentimes you need to do something you ain't never done before. You know? Oh, yes. And somebody says sign up for my newsletter. Yes, I have a newsletter. And how funny is it? I barely send out a handful of emails in the entire month. I will send one out this week because I have a few good things to share. But also getting on the mailing list, my mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join, gets you the, the schedule for when I do my TikTok lives. There we go. Alex Bond, you can unsubscribe from political texts. Political mailers, I'm sure they've dropped off greatly. Those you can probably unsubscribe from too. Mine have dropped off precipitously since the beginning of November. So maybe that's a 4-year thing. Okay, cool. So Vicki says, I watch you all the time. You're wonderful with great content. Okay, here's my request from you. Use what I am doing to make your life better. Don't just passively, don't be passive. Don't just let it sit here. Use what I am giving you. Use this tool. Here, I've got a hammer. Go use it. Go knock down some nails. Take it with you and do something with this information. And don't wait till someday. Today is someday. When your mail comes in today, do something different. When you go out into your kitchen today, and I say out because I'm in this room, but my kitchen's there. When you go out into your kitchen today, instead of saying, oh, my kitchen, counter's a mess, do something about it. Take action. Do is an action. Do something to change what you don't like in your life. And I say this on the macro level. I say it on the mini level. Whatever ones. I say them on all the levels. You can unsubscribe from a single thing. You can unsubscribe from texts you don't want. You can unsubscribe from emails you don't want. You can stop what you don't want coming into your life. And you can do this at the higher level. You are voting for what you don't want in your life. If you don't want things like that to happen in your life, do something about it. Actively participate. Be the change you want to see in the world. But if the world seems overwhelming, start with your life. Be the change you want to see in your cluttered home. Okay? You can do it. But I don't do it for you, specifically because it is so much more important to dust off the power you always have in you. Kind of like, I don't know, you've always had the power to get back home. All you need to say was, there's no place like home. You have the power in you to change your life. You may not feel like it, but you got it. Just because it's there, it's like a battery. It's just you haven't revved your engine for a while. Okay? There we go. So Lynn Berger says, I put my junk mail right in the recycle bin before I go back in the house, then we burn it. Okay, Lynn Berger, I just want to offer to you. If you unsubscribed from that, you may have less junk mail to put in your recycle bin, and then you wouldn't have to burn it. Now, you already have a system that works for you, so I am not suggesting, please, people who have systems that are easy and work for you and get the results you want, do not adopt mine just because I say so. I am typically, but even just notice, would it be easier for you to invest a minute of your time, 30 seconds of your time early on, and then reap the benefits of not having the stuff come in? If you want to do that, you can. But if your system is not getting you the home, if you look around your house and it's cluttered, you just have systems that don't work. Now, a system is just an order of things you do. I love to break apart those things and reassemble them so it does work, so that at the beginning of the little conveyor belt of your process, at the end poops out the thing you want. Like a little can of tomatoes. God, I love that commercial with the two little Chip and Dale or whatever, and then they went to the big conglomerate factory of making the vegetables. Oh, those lovely vegetables. Oh, no, after you. Oh, no, certainly. And also the music was cool. So notice the processes you have. Keep the ones that work well and are simple, and let's break apart the ones that don't. Now, I love this. Yay! Kara is saying life is good. Savers drop off today. My mass people and other people who have savers, you know that. I'm dropping off stuff at the thrift store. FBMP, Facebook Marketplace sale pickup on Wednesday. Yes. And my oldest is home for Thanksgiving. Life is good. Yeah, I love that. Yay, Kara. Notice this, okay? There we go. I love it. Wendy M says, you are the megaphone on the sidelines coaching us to the finish line. You got this. You got this. You can do it. Yeah, I got my little pom-poms. Go you. Go you. You can do it. Go team. Yeah. I love this. Ellen is saying, hubby took out random things from a cabinet last night and I just decluttered them before coffee. Yeah, you can do this. And no, do not unsubscribe. Go to the you can go to the post office to unsubscribe from junk mail and they're going to send you right home again. And I say this with a laugh in my voice because there's this woman who is so awesome at our post office. She knows more than stuff, but she does not tolerate fools. If you're just tuning in, 5760, okay, what I want to offer to you is, I'll quickly say, no, when your junk mail comes in, find the 800 number. If it's not on here, it's going to have a website there. Go to the website, find the 800 number, call, and tell them to get you off the mailing list and use this phrase. I would like to be unsubscribed from your postal mailing list. Is that something you can help me with? That's all you need to do. Don't bug Terry down to the post office. She will rip you a new one. And she'll send you back home. Okay? All right. Meredith Albright is getting overwhelmed by Thanksgiving. Is that because you have so much to be grateful for? Yeah. Notice overwhelm comes up a lot all the time in decluttering. Overwhelm is what stops many of us from even starting anything, is feeling overwhelmed. Overwhelm is a feeling, and you can change that. You can practice things to decrease your feeling of overwhelm. Okay? Now, one of the things you did in kind of the external world is you had your daughter do the shopping so you didn't overbuy. Okay, good to know. I get overwhelmed in the grocery store like nobody's business. Luckily, my husband loves to shop, so I don't have to do that. But what I want to offer to you is when you're feeling overwhelmed by clutter or the holidays or whatever, I want you to think of the word down. I want you to think of calm down, sit down, feet down on the ground, quiet down, breathe down, shoulders down, hands down. Do something, do all those things, repeat all those things for even 1 minute, and you will feel better. Maybe you're feeling tight in your muscles. Maybe you shake. Maybe you shake your body down to the ground. Let's dance, let's shout. You move around, you shake it off. You do something to dissipate that feeling of overwhelm. And then when you're feeling better on the inside, you're going to do kind of what you may have done to decrease the overwhelm with the grocery stores. You're going to write down a shopping list. You're going to write down. Notice, write down. Whatever comes up, write down. And you're going to write down the things in your head, and you're going to write them down so you can do something with it. Do not let overwhelm stop you. I just gave you a tool you can use to help you not feel so overwhelmed. The other great thing besides calming down and then writing down is chunking it down. This is what you're going to do when you're cooking your squash on Thursday. You're going to chunk down that giant squash into little chunks so you can cook it. You're going to chop the green beans. You're going to slice the turkey. Then that slice of turkey is going to be sliced into little bites so you can eat it. Think of how many times in your life already you're chunking things down in order to do something with it. Same thing with your clutter, but don't eat your clutter. It'd be kind of gross, unless it's chocolates cluttering up your house. Okay? Now I love this. Michelle is saying, sold 4 things this week on Mercari. Yay to clearing my closet. There we go. All right? This is great. I was just joking about how clutter was, if you had any chocolate, send it my way. Wendy M. found a box of stuff in a closet. I had 2 bags of chocolate chips. I was embarrassed. You know what? Embarrassment is a feeling. Learn from that. Learn. Be Nancy Drew. How did that box get there? Why were there chocolate chips in my closet? Learn from what you did in the past, and if it worked out well, do it more. Learn from what you did in the past, and if it didn't work out the way you hoped, do something different the next time. Okay? Yeah. Food didn't belong there. Yeah, you were probably distracted. You were probably busy with something else, and you probably said, oh, I'll just shove this here and I will get to it later, and you never did because you forgot about it. There we go. Linda Mosergear. Yeah, we have you all. We have so much to be grateful for and thankful for every Thanksgiving. And if you are here hanging out with me talking about your clutter, you have a lot to be thankful for, because clutter is too much of stuff you don't want, but it's not enough. It's not like you're hungry. If anything, you're just stuffed. You're overstuffed, right? Now, Linda Mosergear says, after reading old divorce papers to declutter, I am extra grateful this Thanksgiving for number 2. And oh my God, I don't even have to look at my divorce papers. I can just, yes, 100%. I got rid of what I didn't want that wasn't working out for me. And I made space for the opportunity to find something in somebody that did. Was I looking for husband number 2? No, I wasn't. After being divorced, I had no interest in getting married again. Until I met this cute boy in a band. And now we've been married for 22 and a half years. That's something I'm glad I got rid of. I never would be here talking to you if I had not gotten divorced back in my 20s. I would not be here talking to you unless I did some things to declutter my own life. Okay? So notice what you're decluttering is in your home. You're making space for what you want. And sometimes just what you want is space. You don't even want to fill it up with stuff, you know? And notice this. Terry says, new refrigerator being delivered. Remove the magnets, the paperwork. Will not put it back on the new fridge. Will not declutter the refrigerator ever again. Will not clutter the fridge ever again. I love the clean look. Yeah. Okay. You know? So notice that you may have a habit of keeping things. Wendy M says, my worst room had shoulder high and no room to walk. I got to where I could vacuum and have it organized. Yeah. Only you can prevent forest fires, you know? And gives me hope. 40, single, never married, no kids. I see absolutely nothing wrong with that. As my mother would say, though she would talk out of both sides of her mouth, but better to be alone than in bad company. Yeah. So quality versus quantity. So the quality of items you have in your home. You need fewer items of quality to get stuff done. One sharp knife can do a better job than 11 dull knives. So notice where clutter shows up in your home and in your life. And as I said at the very beginning, clutter is the stuff that at a certain level in you, because you have this in you, you have a surface level, oh, you can't get rid of that, whatever, but down in your core, this is where my hand goes when I think about this. Down in your core, you have some voice in you that says, you don't want no part of that, Dewey. No, you can let go of that. Let go of that unhelpful way you're talking to yourself. Let go of that way of thinking. Let go of that item that every time you look at it just reminds you of ugh. Get rid of the stuff that makes you feel crappy. Life is too short to feel crappy. And I mean this on many levels. I can say it very, very cavalierly, but I am thankful that I'm still alive today. Because in this past year, I've had 4 friends of mine die. Of different reasons, of different ages, expected, unexpected. So none of us know when our last day is going to be. And I don't know about you, but I want to live before I die. And I want to live a life that feels comfortable and easy and fun. And something that helps me do that is being able to easily walk around my home. I delight in looking at the items that I've collected and the stories they tell me. Thank you, Donna. But you know what? I bet it's happened to you too. And if it hasn't, it's going to. And I say this because we all have a finite amount of time on this planet. Get active. Start taking charge. Start taking action to create the life you want if you're not there yet. Now, the thing I love about when I'm coaching people and when I do this is the methods I teach you how to declutter your mail, your cupboards, your basement. The process behind it scales to other areas of your life. What is this thing, person, opportunity, thought? Do I want it or not? Is this going to make my life easier, better, more helpful? If I want it, where does it go? If I don't want it, where does it go? Okay? So notice that is from, do I want this thing that's coming in my mailbox today, to do I want that person in office? Do I want that person in my life? Do I want this food in my cupboard that's expired? You probably have items that you haven't used. Maybe you've got a bag of Pepperidge Farm stuffing that was on sale last year and you said, oh, I'm going to buy this so it's going to be cheaper. And then is it expired? If it is, what are you going to do with it? You can declutter so much of your life. I like to start small because decluttering your life sounds a bit overwhelming. I was overwhelmed when somebody would say, what do you want to do with your life? I don't know. Well, I did know a little bit of it, but I was afraid to say it because I was afraid that somebody was going to make fun of me. Or tell me, no, you can't do that. You have to do this. Yes. Now, I love this, Niche B. Sometimes we do this for ourselves. We always do it for ourselves, but seeing it from a different perspective can get us up off the couch and doing some stuff. Niche B8 says, I think about my poor kids having to go through my piles whenever I pass. Nope. This is my responsibility. Yeah, Wendy M says, oh gosh, I cleaned out my kitchen and had 4 trash bags of expired things. Yeah, so notice that, Wendy, and remember that the next time you go shopping. How much do you use in a week? What do you typically eat in a week? How frequently do you use something? And before you go shopping, shop in your own house first. I say this at the advent of before Thanksgiving. Before you do your Thanksgiving shopping, look in your cupboards, look in your pantry. What do you already have that you might have just gone out and bought a new one? Use what you have. I say this at the advent of the Advent season, at the beginning of Christmas. Before you go out and buy one more damn thing, look around your house and say, do I really need that? Or do I have enough? And if you have clutter, I'm cluing you in. You don't just have enough, you have more than enough. Now, you may have more than enough of the wrong stuff, so get rid of that, but then be very mindful and demure of what you bring into your life. You know? Notice this. All right? So yeah, you can do something about what bugs you declutter-wise. I am here to help you. I am not going to do it for you. This is why I only show up in your life on Zoom. I don't walk up. Actually, I was on a call with one of my one-on-one clients. She's like, I was hoping you would come knock on my door and do this for me. Oh, I could in a heartbeat, but I'm not going to. I have learned, and this is why I love showing up like this, that it is so much more powerful and long-lasting and empowering to learn to do this yourself, okay? To learn to do this yourself. And this is a wonderful time to do this, to really reflect on, do I need any of this stuff that the stores are selling me? And even if it's on sale, and what do we even do in our family as far as gift giving? Are we giving what we really mean, which is our time and our love and our patience and our attention? Or are we just blowing people off and then buying them a sweater? You know? Michelle says it's a great time to sell or donate holiday items. Yes, because look at this. Notice how I talked about surface, stored, and sentimental. I also want you to think of this. I'm always thinking of threes, and for some reason it just works in the torso of your body. When you are hungry in your body, your tummy is empty. When you are empty, it doesn't feel good when there's no food in your belly. So what do? You eat some food. Now, if you know it feels good to eat some food, oh, I feel better. Sometimes many of us buy too much, eat too much, drink too much. Totally, me. Sometimes we don't know when to say enough. That full feeling. So what happens is we then eat too much, buy too much, drink too much, hold on to stuff until it's too much. And feeling like you have too much can feel as not good as feeling not enough. What we're looking for is that balance, okay? So notice where the excess, and I know I'm probably going to eat too much food on Thanksgiving because you don't always have it, and oh my God, I never get this again, and blah, blah, blah. But notice how that makes you feel. And the next day, maybe you don't eat as much. Maybe you say, no, I'm going to have a salad. Making yourself feel better, okay? So, yeah. So user 6242 is saying, will this live be uploaded onto YouTube? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All my TikTok lives are uploaded to YouTube. If you want to watch this one, hopefully you're on my mailing list. If you're not, destinationdecluttered.com. Sign up for it, and then you get access to all the November ones. If not, you'll just have to wait until December for the November ones. But there are over 500 videos on my TikTok, on my YouTube channel. And speaking of that, I get a scoot. I have coaching to do. I will be showing up for more TikTok lives. If you want to know when they are, then get on my mailing list. You know where to look to find the schedule. And then take the time, show up. And then even today, as I said, go when the mail comes today, you guys, do something different with your mail, okay? Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Wendy M. Damn it, Donna, Danielle. At some time today, I got stuff to do. I got to coach. Okay, but it will be there within the next 24 hours. How's that? 6242, okay? You guys rock. Follow me here on TikTok. I'm delicious, okay? Bye-bye.